everybody, this is Heather with Stampin' Up. I'm an independent demonstrator out of Spokane, Washington, and I'm sorry I'm not totally focused on you at this second. I'm trying to get it up on my computer so that I can see your comments as they come by. So give me just a second for that. Oh yeah, that's not necessarily the shot you want, is it? Well, that is slightly better at least. Let's see here. I've got some exciting stuff to share with you guys tonight, and I'm going to show you some great cards and some fun new stuff that's coming out, and I am very excited to share it with you. So let's see here if I've got you up and running. Okay, well, you're still getting the, picture of me with my whole head on your screen, but I guess that's, better than the original shot you had. So, okay. It's funny, I just realized the other day that in most of my videos I've been wearing my overalls. Maybe that'll be my signature thing, I guess. I actually have two types of pants I enjoy wearing. I enjoy my overalls. I love my overalls. And sweatpants. And so you just happen to have caught me on overalls days and not sweatpants days. And that's just what we get now that with all this COVID stuff and everybody working from home. So anyway, it is what it is, and you're getting the real me. Okay, so I just want to try to move you back a little so that I'm not just right in your face. Let's see here. Yeah, I still have no top of my head, but well, you can imagine. I promise you, there is a top to my head. So let's go ahead and get started. It's already 6:01, and I want to respect everyone's time. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera because I want to be able to show you these things, and I don't want them to be backwards if I just hold them up. So, if everybody's okay with that, we're just going to go ahead and move right along and get going. So give me a chance to move my camera. If you get motion sickness, or if you get motion sick with the movement of the camera, close your eyes for a minute. Okay. Gosh, I'm almost getting this done quickly these days. Isn't that amazing? Almost. Not quite yet, but better than it was in the beginning. Okay, I think that should work okay. Now tighten everything up so it doesn't start to slip as I go through. Hi, Marilyn. How are you today? I see that you've joined us, and I don't know if I've seen you there before. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to start with some of the specials that are going on, and then we're going to jump right into stamping. So I just want to remind everybody that you have until the 10th of the month to sign up for the October Paper Pumpkin. Actually, I guess I should say it's the November Paper Pumpkin. You sign up. No, it's October. Okay, let me start all over. The October Paper Pumpkin, you have until the 10th to sign up, and then on the 11th, they start shipping them out. If you don't sign up by the 10th, you're not going to be able to get this particular one, but starting on the 11th, you'll be able to start signing up for the November one. You can get just 1 month, or you can sign up for 3, 6, or 12-month subscriptions. And when you sign up for one of the subscriptions, I offer something special to my subscription customers where, well, first I do a video once a month. I get my paper pumpkin kit and I come up with 3 alternative ideas for you just to kind of get you thinking outside the box. And that's a free video I offer to everybody. My subscription members, however, will also get a PDF file with several more ideas that I've come up with. Hi, Robin. How are you tonight? What I want to do is I want to show you what little I do know about this paper pumpkin kit. It's called Peaceful Christmas, and it is designed to coordinate with our Peaceful Cabin set and our cabin dies. Let me just show you this really quickly. I want to make sure I get it all on the screen here. But it's got some nice little sentiments like your kindness makes the world a more beautiful place to me. May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. Thank you for you and wishing you the best. So it's more of a wintry feel with these stamps than a Christmassy feel. And you can see there's the little snow-covered cabin, a little fence, a tiny little fox. I think this right here is intended to be smoke coming out of the chimney, and there's little snowflakes you can have and a few trees. So it's a pretty good set there. And then it has the dies that go with it. What direction do I have? You can die cut the trees. There's big snowflakes you can die cut. Well, actually, I imagine they're more of an embossing. I haven't used that one yet. But you can cut out the house. You can cut out kind of big around the house. There's just a lot you can do. You can even, that's upside down, but I think that's the fox. So you could even die cut the little fox, if I am correct. So anyway, this set, this Peaceful Christmas, is designed to coordinate with these stamps and these dies. You do not have to have the stamps and dies in order to use the set or use the paper pumpkin. However, paper pumpkin comes with everything that you need to complete the projects. And I believe in this case, it's like 9 to 12 cards. I'm trying to see if I can find something that just says what it is. It says this kit contains enough to create 10 Christmas cards, 5 each of 2 different designs, with the coordinating envelopes as well. It also includes the printed card printed card bases, die cut paper pieces, embellishments, adhesives, everything that you need, except you do need to have a pair of scissors. It does not come with scissors. It also comes with a Stampin' Spot, which is a 1x1 inch ink pad. And every month you get a different color of that. If it is your first time getting a paper pumpkin, you will also get an acrylic block for your stamps. But once you've received that, then they don't include that in the package anymore. But it's really a fun thing to get, especially if you get the subscription. You just know you're going to get something fun every month. You don't quite know what you're getting. You just maybe have an idea of what it's going to be about. So it's just kind of fun to have that, and they're quick and easy. They're a great gift for somebody that you know is a crafter, whether they are an advanced crafter who might want to step outside the box and come up with their own alternative ideas, or somebody who's a beginning stamper, or somebody who just likes to get quick projects done. It's really a great thing for just about anybody because they can fit it to whatever their level of stamping is. So we've got that, and you have until the 10th to order the one I just showed you. Just a reminder about my Adhesives Essentials Kit and my must-have tool kit. These are my must-have items that I find myself, every time I stamp, these are the items I lay out on my table first because I know I'm going to use them. If you have questions about it, feel free to email me or send me a message here on Facebook. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is something I have put together, so if you're interested in ordering these, then you just need to contact me directly, and then I place the order for you and put it all together. So just a reminder about those. And on my Facebook page, I've got the ad pinned to the top so you can find it easily to see what's in it. I have my catalogs in case we want to look stuff up tonight. And last but not least, I'm so excited about this. I have a sneak peek for you guys. We got notice the other day that a new kit is coming out. It's going to be available to customers on November 1st. However, if you join my team and become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator whether you're a hobbyist or you want to turn it into a business, when you are a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you get to pre-order a lot of things before they're available for customers. So this new kit, it's called Eden's Garden, and I got mine in the mail. Seriously, I got it about 15 minutes before I went live tonight. I was so excited, and I want to show it to you really quick. I don't want to take a ton of time, but I want to show it to you. And like I said, if you fall in love with it, I have already. If you fall in love with it, talk to me about joining my team, because then you would be able to order it right away. So it comes with these dies, which I think are beautiful. You can see there's, this could be a wreath, it could be a border on something. Then there's a small one that can be a wreath or a border. There's some leaves here you can die out that you can cut out. There's a banner here, and then there's a little edge that you could do that looks like it's grass and plants and such like that. The stamps, beautiful. Comes with messages like, "Dear friend, how are you? Sending hugs. Let's celebrate everything. My heart is tied to yours. Tug if you need anything." I love that. And hello there. And then these beautiful little plants and whatnot. And I just think they're gorgeous. The kit, once it's available, will also have little gems that match, color coordinate with this. They are not available yet. I couldn't even get them. So they will be available, but I want you to see this gorgeous paper that comes in it. So as you know, all of our designer series paper is two-sided, meaning that there's a different design on each side. So let's take a look at these really quick. So here's one. It's got little gold flecks in it. I don't know how well that picks up on the camera. Well, it kind of does, that you can see a little bit of shimmer there. So that's one side. Then the other side is this kind of splatter. I'm sorry, this is a different sheet. Oh no, it is. It's the same one. So the other side of it is these little flecks. It kind of reminds me of a bathroom counter, but I still like it anyway. I don't mean that as a bad thing necessarily. We also have, oh, I see what I did. Okay, let's start over. This is the print I showed you originally. The flip side of it is these little dots, and I don't know if you can really see the detail too much in the video, but it's just kind of a dark green random dots, or maybe it's SOS and I just don't, or it's Morse code. I should look at it and see if I can figure it out. So then there's this one, also has the gold foil in it, and the back side is the splatter one that I showed you. The next print is this one, more of the gold foil with the leaves. I just love the softness of it. And this is the flip side of it. It looks kind of like a knit weave or a knit pattern. Then you've got this, and this one I really don't know if you'll be able to pick up the gold in it, but it has, let's see if we can get up here really close, little teeny tiny gold dots. And they kind of show as gold in the camera when I'm this close, but it's very, very subtle. Oh, and I like, oh, this is beautiful. The back side is just kind of this ombre. Then we have this paper, lots of gold foil here. And the back side is this, it reminds me kind of like a suit that someone might wear. And then the last paper in this pack is this, more gold foil. So all of them have gold foiling on one side. This one, the back side, looks kind of like a green tweed. But again, on the white background, so it's nice and subtle. So we've got that. That's the designer series paper that comes in this set for this kit. Sweet. But then, oh wait, there's more. There is, aren't you loving it, Robin? It is so gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So then it also, you can get this cotton paper. And I wasn't sure what it would feel like. What it feels like is almost like thick tissue paper. It's thin. You can see how flimsy it is. It's thin like tissue paper, but it's a little heavier duty. And it comes in two colors, it's evening evergreen and soft succulent. and it's just got a really cool feel to it. I don't even know how to describe it, so I'm not going to try, but it's awesome, so you need to buy it. And I bought myself a couple extra packs of both of the papers because I find I am more inclined to use my designer series paper when I have extra. Then I'm not hoarding it, holding on to it for that perfect project to come along, and I actually use it. So that's something to think about. Buy 2 and you'll use even more. So that is the Eden's Garden set, available November 1st. But like I said, if you are interested in picking it up earlier than that, then talk to me about joining my team. It's a great deal. It's the best deal that we have. And you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do the videos. You don't have to do parties. All you have to do is sign up. So talk to me about that if that interests you. Hi, Tammy. No, you're not late. You're fine. I was just getting started on some announcements. And I talked about the October paper pumpkin that's about to close for subscriptions for October. And then I got my Eden's Garden stuff in the mail today, so I brought it out to show everybody. It literally came about 15 minutes before I started my live. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our cards. I've got 3 for you tonight. The first one I've got doesn't have a whole lot of stamping, but it's still fun. I found that I really have been liking the note cards that we have. I hadn't used them before, and then for a workshop that I signed up for recently, they used them quite a bit, and I found I really liked them. They're nice to have on hand, and they do make a little bit quicker cards. So when you want to, I mean, to say throw it together isn't necessarily right, but when you want to throw something together fairly quickly, you're dealing with less space that you have to cover, so they're nice to have, and you can get them in the basic white or very vanilla, and it's like $7 for 20 cards and envelopes. So they're a great deal. Good to have on hand. So anyway, so what I've done is I've taken the note card and I folded it in half. We're going to start with decorating. Actually, normally I like to decorate the envelope first, but I'm going to wait because the technique I'm going to use to decorate the envelope, I'm also using on the card, and I think it'll be easier to show it to you on the card first. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is cut. Okay, so the card base is 3.5 inches by 5 inches. So what I did is I cut this at 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. So it's just 1/4 inch smaller on each side. I have these little snowflakes that come in our Whimsical Trees set suite, and you can't see too well. You can kind of see a little bit of shimmer, but these are gorgeous. They're very opalescent and beautiful, beautiful. Easy to work with. And when you get a pack of like, gosh, I want to say 24 of them or something like that, you get quite a few of them. And because of their size, a little goes a long way. Then I have 2 strips here. One is 1/2 inch wide. One is 5/8 of an inch wide, so it's just slightly wider. And they're just scraps. There's no particular length to them because we're going to be trimming them down anyway. So let's get started. What I did first is I took one of my blending brushes, and I love these. These are so soft, and I swear if you have anxiety issues, I shouldn't say this because then we get in trouble for, we're not supposed to make promises that, you know, we're not medically trained, so we can't. And I was going to jokingly say if you have problems with anxiety, you could just sit here and pet this. It's like your emotional support brush. Again, I say that in jest, I say it jokingly, but they are very, very soft. So, okay, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take my polished pink ink pad, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my ink pad, just doing circles like this. Then before I use it on my cardstock, I'm going to tap it just a little bit on my paper, and you see how it left that dark mark at first? That's why I do that, because I don't want that dark mark on my card. Then I'm just going to very lightly start making a circle here on my piece of white cardstock. See how it's starting to pink up? It's not a fast process, but it's not too terribly slow, but you do have to have a little bit of patience with it. And you can make it as bright or as pale as you want it to be. And I'm just, like I said, lightly doing little circles here. One mistake I made when I first got mine is I would hold them down like this. And what that does is that puts a lot of pressure on it, and it doesn't allow it to blend very easily because you're just getting dark. So hold it to the back here like this, the back of the handle, and that'll be good. Now I like that darkness. That's the shade I like. You can do more or less if you choose. Close the ink pad. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my silicone mat, which is in my Essential Adhesives kit, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue and a sponge dauber, and I'm going to take one of my snowflakes, and they just pop right out of here. You want to, they're fragile little pieces, so you want to be careful, but it isn't difficult at all. Now I'm going to put glue on the end of my dauber. Okay. And I use my dauber for several months before I have to replace it. After a while, they get to where they're so sticky that you have to use a lot of glue to get it to work, and they're just messy at that point. But it's $5 for a set of 5 of them. So I figure if I'm spending $1 every 3 or 4 months, I can handle that. Okay, now I'm just going to line this up because if it's not straight, it will drive me crazy. And I'm going to lay it down over the area that I just turned pink. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my glue out of the way because chances are I'll probably lay in that just like I lay down in my ink pads. I'm very consistent that way. And we're going to use the Whimsical Trees set, and I'm actually just using the sentiment here, let your heart be light. So, oh, I think I already put it on a block. I did not put it on a block. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so, okay, let me grab a block really quick. Got this little teeny tiny guy. Now I'm going to open my ink pad again. I want to test something though on my scrap paper because when I did this the first time, I stamped it fully inked. And it just felt like it was way too dark. So I wondered if I stamped off first and then did it, how that would look. But it looks like it's running out of ink. So that's okay. We'll go with the whole thing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this kind of toward the edge. I even got it straight. Are we impressed or what? Except there's a little booger on there. Let's try this again. Ah. Okay, first I have to fix, sometimes when you cut your paper, the back side, or even sometimes the front, if you have a brand new blade, which is what I'm running to, you get this little lip of the paper that sticks up. So I just take my bone folder and flatten it out. Okay, let's try this again. Wants to curl up now. There we go. Okay, so clean my stamp. And I use this Stampin' Chamois, or I think it's called Simply Chamois, to clean my stamps. They're like $7, worth every single penny, and I do include one in my must-have toolkit. Now what I'm going to do is just take my scissors, and I'm going to cut this end at a bit of an angle. So you can see all we have here is the little, oh, you know what? I just noticed that has a kind of a, okay, hang on. We're going to try this again. I'll show this paper who's boss. Okay, where'd you go, little stamp? Okay, not exactly straight, but I'm guessing I'll survive. Yeah, Tammy, I agree. I thought it might be nice if it was light, like the background behind the snowflake, but when I just tested it out, it just, to me, felt like it looked like it had just run out of ink, so. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to mount this. I could use my Stampin' Seal to, you know, Tammy, I don't usually like to use the Blushing Bride a whole lot. It's not very pink in my opinion. It's kind of more of a brownish, mauvish, where I'm kind of a bubblegum pink girl. So I just don't know that it would give me the look I like. I love the way the color turns out right here on the snowflake, or behind the snowflake. So, you know, we make accommodations. Okay, so I'm just mounting this white strip onto my polished pink strip. And then I'm going to take my scissors. Oh, got to put my glue back in my shot glass. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this just like I did the white one. There we go. And we're going to put that on the card here in just a minute. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this piece with the snowflake on it and put it on the card. But what I want to do is I want to use some of our foam adhesive sheets. I just like them because in cases like this where you might end up using a lot of dimensionals, you can just cut a piece of this and it's quicker and it's easier. And it does give a more thorough coverage. And I kind of wish I'd done that a little bit wider, so I'm going to do another strip. Gosh, apparently tonight you're going to get to see me do things 2 or 3 times every step of the way. Okay. And I did this, I got the extra strip because I just wanted to make sure that both of my sides had a good amount of adhesive, or was evenly covered, because I don't want it to get kind of sunken on one side. So now I'm going to stick this guy onto my card. Beware, as much as I love these foam adhesive sheets, they are very unforgiving when it comes to sticking them down. So really eyeball it, don't get too close, but really make sure it's where you want it, and that it's straight, or the angle that you want it, because it's not going to give you a second chance. I want to do this edge down a little bit. Okay, so now we have the card started, and it's just white on white, and I love that look. I think it's just very clean. Next, we're going to take some dimensionals and put them on the back of our sentiment. Got my Take Your Pick tool, which is included in my must-have toolkit. And I'm going to line this up, get off. Just line it up to the edge of your white cardstock piece, not the edge of the card, but the piece that you added onto the card, just like that. Then, to just give it a little something extra, I have my 2021 through 23 in color jewels. I'm going to put a few of these pink guys on here. First, I want to take one, do this where you can see what I'm doing, and put it right in the middle, right there. And then on my original one, I had a couple on my tag there, and it almost just felt like it was too much. So that is why I'm not doing that this time. Normally I do things in odd numbers, and this kind of is in the sense that I have three accent jewels, but I also have that one in the middle. So that's what we've got for that. So now the card is done. I usually like to put something on the inside, but due to how small these are, sometimes I don't put something in there because I have fairly large handwriting and I want to wait and leave that space for writing a message to somebody. Now I want to show you what I did with the envelope. Usually I like to take coordinating designer series paper and do it along the flap there. But I'm doing a couple different things tonight just to give you guys a few extra ideas. So what I'm going to do is get my ink pad open again, get my blender brush. I also need a piece of scrap paper. What I'm doing with the scrap paper is I'm sticking it under the flap and then just back like this. I should fold that over since that's work-related stuff and probably some security stuff there. Okay, so now we're going to do what we did on the front of the card, and I'm going to do two small ones on the envelope. So maybe one right here. One over here. Okay, then what I'm going to do is take my little snowflake and I'm going to cut it in half. Word of advice on this, when I first did this, I tried cutting it in half with my trimmer because I thought, okay, it'll make a nice clean cut that won't be all crooked or whatever. Like I tend to make it crooked with scissors. But because there's so many intricate little pieces there, the trimmer kind of got hung up on them and it just didn't cut nicely. So just a word of warning in that regard. Now what I'm going to do is find my, maybe I want to use my big scissors just to cut that up a little bit. And if you lose little bits of it, it's not a big deal because honestly, you're probably going to end up trimming these pieces of it off and you'll see why. Let's get out the silicone mat again and one of my snowflakes. Make sure I'm going the right direction. Okay, now, okay, take a little glue just like I did when I did it on the card. You can see it really doesn't take a whole lot of the glue at all. And I'm going to stick it on here, just like I did for the card, where I'm putting it right over that coloring that I did with my blender brush. Then I'm going to do the other one. Make sure which side's the shimmery side so that I put my glue on the right side. Stick it on there. And now I'm going to take my scissors and just trim any excess bits that went over the edge of the envelope. Get off. Okay, so there's one. And if you end up using just a little bit of too much glue, you know what you can do is you can go back later with an adhesive eraser, which I do include in my my adhesive essentials kit. I include an adhesive eraser. That's not something we sell from through Stampin' Up, but you can get them on Amazon or probably any craft store, to tell you the truth. And once it's dried, you can lightly go over it and get the excess glue off. Not a problem. So anyway, there's our card with our envelope. What do you guys think? Now let me clean up my mess a little bit. And of course, save your scraps, because you've got nice big chunks here of that opalescent paper that you could cut or punch out. I saw somebody that made little mint. We have a die cut that makes little peppermints, you know, the swirly ones. And she cut out the swirly parts with this. So you can definitely use that later. Oh, I'm glad you love it, Robin. Okay, next in line. Actually, I should put some stuff away first. I hear my mother in my head. Clean up your mess before you get started on something new. I'm not going to tell her I hear her in my head, though, because then she'll gloat. Okay, so now we're going to make this card with our Very Versailles stamp set. I love this set. I sometimes though get lost in what can I do with it. But once I get going, it's one of those that you get going, you start playing with it, and the ideas start to come. So it's Very Versailles. It's got Always Thinking of You, Have a Beautiful Day. Something that I'm guessing is in French, and it's really tiny, so you can't really read it anyway. I was just thinking today that I really hope Stampin' Up! Ran this through some sort of check to make sure what it said. I'm sure they did. And there's a tiny little thank you as well. There's this branch, and then this little frame kind of thing. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to set the stamps aside for a second. First, I have a sheet of Sahara sand. It's 5.5 by 8.5. It's just a half a sheet of paper cut in half and then scored at 4 1/4 so I can fold it in half. Oh, there's my bone folder. I also have a Very Vanilla envelope, which we'll work on in a minute. I have 2 pieces that are, well, let's start with this. I've got the Misty Moonlight, and it is 4 by 5 1/4. And then to layer on that, I have a piece that's just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So it is 3 7/8 this way by 5 1/8. And I cut 2 of them that way. So one's for the inside of the card. Now the first thing we're gonna do, what did I do with my envelope? Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is let's stamp the envelope, get the envelope done. And, oh, and then I also have, just so you know, I have the little frame that's in the stamps, this one, that I already pre-stamped, and I cut it out using this die from the seasonal labels. I've shown this before, talked about what a versatile set it is. Oh, I just noticed one of the dies is upside down, and we can't have that. We have to fix that. There we go. All's better in the universe now. So I pre-stamped and pre-cut that, and then I have a strip here that's 7/8 of an inch. You could do a full inch. You could do probably, I think a 1/2 inch might be too small. 3/4 of an inch might work okay, but anywhere in that 3/4 of an inch to an inch wide would be good. And then I have a piece of the Crumb Cake Baker's twine here. So that's what we're going to work with tonight. And to do our envelope, first I'm going to take that big stamp that I was saying is something in French, but it's too little to read. And I'm going to use my Sahara Sand ink pad. Eek. We're going to ink it up. Now I don't want it to be quite as dark, so I'm going to stamp it off and then just kind of stamp it in the corner of my envelope like that. So it's just a faded background, basically. Actually, I don't need to clean that yet because we're going to use it again. Then I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight ink pad. And we're going to use this stamp with the leaves and the branch. Ink her up. Oh, that was nice. I just totally grabbed my pad. Grab a baby wipe. You know what's funny is when I am stamping just, you know, my prep work or just trying to come up with ideas or whatever, I never do this kind of stuff. I never have to use my baby wipes. But I think every live video I've done, I've needed to use a baby wipe. I don't know what it is. Okay, so again, I don't want that bold of an image, so I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to do it a little bit of an angle here, but there we go. So that's the front of our envelope, just decorating it. So usually I decorate the flap, but you know, if you don't have DSP to put on there, or you don't want to use DSP, or there's nothing you really want to do with the flap, like with big stamps like this, it's hard to decorate the flap, then just doing something subtle like that works really well. Okay, now set the envelope aside, find all my little bits of cardstock. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these two pieces that are very vanilla and the tag that I cut out, and we're going to use sponge daubers. And I just want to give it a little bit of an aged look. It also tones down the brightness of my very vanilla paper cardstock. So I'm taking the Sahara Sand and I'm just kind of lightly going around the edge. And I'm going to do that on all three of these pieces of paper. And you can see I'm not doing a whole lot, just enough that it softens the edges. One more to go. Now one of these, I'm not going to do this on the inside or on my tag, but one of these I'm going to add a little bit of blue of the Misty Moonlight. I'm kind of getting some of that extra ink off because, like I said, I don't want a ton. Just a little bit. And it looks kind of messy there, but once you lay it down on the Misty Moonlight cardstock, it actually blends quite nicely. See? So now what we're going to do is we're going to do just like we did with the envelope. And I'm going to ink up the big stamp that has just the words. I'm stamping off. And I'm going to do this in both the upper left-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner. Then I'm going to take the leaves and branches, and again I'm stamping off because this color is quite dark and I just want a softer look to this card. And then I'm going to do that again on the piece that's going on the inside. Okay. And I'm I'm going to shut my door real quick so that my husband doesn't have to listen to me. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I guess I don't want to close my ink pads quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece that goes on the inside just because it gets it, you know, out of the way. Less chance to have something horrible happen to it that shouldn't. Which I suppose is why my mother tells me to put my stuff away. Okay. Now I've got my Sahara Sand cardstock. I'm just going to mount this on the inside. Using my Stampin' Seal Plus. Now we're going to start working on the front. I'm going to go ahead and stick this piece down onto my Misty Moonlight. And I've only got an 1/8 of an inch margin, so that's a 1/16 of an inch on each side, so it's not a very big margin. I really like that little tiny pop of color like that. Now I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to wait to, actually I can go ahead and mount it onto my card now. Let's do that. But wait, there's more. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, the little strip of the Very Vanilla. Oh, I guess I wanted to go around the edge with my Sahara Sand on this one too. So all of the vanilla pieces, I'm doing this. Now I may have to come back to this because we're going to trim the edges in a minute. Okay, so this piece, like I said, is anywhere between 3/4 of an inch and an inch by 4 inches. And I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight. The message is always thinking of you. And I'm just going to center it on there. Perfect. Then I'm taking my, oh, I can't think of what it's called. It's a take your pick punch or something like that with the banner cuts. So I'm just going to stick it in there and trim both edges. So I have a banner cut at each end. Ooh, I cut that short. Oh, that's okay. We'll live. And I just want to get these edges again. Another thing I like to do with banners like this is take my take your pick tool and just curl them a little bit like you're curling ribbon, but not as hard because you don't want to totally bend your paper like I just did. But I do like doing this. It makes the edge stick up a little. It just gives it a little bit of dimension on your card. Okay, now we're just going to stick this down on top of the tag that was cut out. And I did it just this angle. Yeah. It might be a little off center, but that's okay. Maybe that'll be the title of my autobiography, but that's okay. Now what I want to do is take a little bit of my baker's twine, and I'm just going to, let's see, how big do I want this? I'm going to put some adhesive on here like this, just because it'll help my twine to stay in place while I'm sort of figuring out what to do with it. And you can see I'm putting it on the back here. Oh, I don't have any adhesive on that side. And it looks really messy on the back. It's kind of like, anybody here ever do cross stitch? Where it just, you see the back of it and the back of it looks like, oh my gosh, it's horrible. And how could anything beautiful come of that? But then when it is done, you look at the front and the front is gorgeous. So this might be a little big, but I'm just kind of fiddling with it. I don't have any real particular pattern, just kind of figure eights sort of, I guess. Now what I'm going to do, just to make sure it stays where I want it to, I have my tear and tape. And I'm just going to stick it over these pieces, primarily where the twine crosses over itself, because then I know it'll stay laying the way I wanted it to. Now we're going to trim that little bit of excess off. Come here, you. And I'm not super wild about that. So I'm just going to peel my tear and tape off. This side, I guess, is okay, but this side is kind of wonky and out of control. Okay, we're going to try this again. Yes, it is like a train wreck where it's just horrible, but I totally agree with you, Robin. Okay, so let's try this again. I want it to come up on this edge a little bit. I want it to come over on this edge a little bit. Already, I think this is going to be better. Okay. All right, Heather, get it together. Let's see how the front looks this time. Oh, that's better. I don't want to spend all night boring you with trying to lay this out right. Yes, I know, Robin. That's so funny. I knew that's what you meant, but that is funny. Okay, now maybe it's a good idea to look at the front before you put your tear and tape on it. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is take some dimensionals, and put them on here. And I kind of try to work around the twine just so it's not extra bulky, but I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Okay, so now I'm going to take the pick tool It's been a long day, Tammy. Okay, now let's stick this on the front of the card. And we're going to put it centered from left to right, but just down a tiny little bit so it's not smack dab in the center of the card. And then I have my brushed metallic adhesive backed dots, and I did see these are on back order right now, but as soon as they come back on, they are definitely a must-have. They're great. So let's see, a little one and a big one. Oh, am I out of, no, there's the big one. We'll do another little one, like we have a choice because all I have left is little ones. Put it right there. So then we've got the card and the inside and our coordinating envelope. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit here. Okay, we're doing pretty okay for time tonight. I'm trying to get to where I don't have to keep you much more than an hour, but it's a learning curve. All right, let's clean off these stamps. I love my chamois. Oh, classic. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, I was really disappointed to see they were on the back order list too, because I need to order some more here pretty soon. And, you know, I want my customers to be able to order them too, because I just think they're so, I like that they're not super blingy, but they just add a little extra something. Thank you, Tammy. Okay, there's that one. Okay, you guys ready for the last card? Let's see what I have in store for you. So for the last one, oh, this one should go pretty fast. I have used the Christmas Tidings DSP, I think that's what it's called, Christmas Tidings, and created this little beauty. So let's go ahead and, oh, and there's the inside. So let's go ahead and get her started. Now this one, I went back to decorating the envelope with DSP like I'd done before. Usually I use the same DSP on my envelope as I do on my card. And in this case, I didn't have enough to make 2 cards like this and 2 envelopes. So I just found two that I thought went together nicely. So you don't always have to use the exact same one. That's one nice thing about our DSP is because it coordinates a pack of it coordinates with itself. So you can do that. Okay, so we have a half of a sheet of soft succulent. I always want to say sage shadow, and I think that's a color we used to have like 100 years ago. Anyway, with this one, it's 4¼ inches wide by 11 inches tall. It's then folded in half at 5½ inches. So this one's a little different because it's going to open at the top instead of on the side. We have our envelope, our coordinating DSP. We have a piece of cherry cobbler. This is cut at 4 by 5¼ We have our designer series paper cut just slightly smaller at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. For the inside, we have a piece of Very Vanilla that is also cut at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I am using on this card using the bright Baubles stamp set. I just got this and I love it. One thing I like is because they're big stamps, you could make a card fairly quickly because you don't have to do a whole lot. But they also come with these gorgeous dies that you can cut just the shape of the stamp. So if you stamp the ornament, then you can cut just the shape like I did here. Or you can cut one of the little details that go inside, like I did, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So there's a lot of variety that you can do with this set, and I just love it. Oh, we have a visitor. Where are you going?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
I'll be right back.
okay. Love you. Okay, so what I did to cut these out, this is what I wanted to show you. I have this great little ribbon that goes on the ornament die, and I also have this little ornament here. And what I did, we also have a little strip here that's like 1 inch by 3 7/8 for the inside of the card, which we'll do first. But I used our adhesive our adhesive sheets, I think is what it's called. And what you do is you put it on the back of your cardstock, then you cut out your die. And what it does is it turns your die into a sticker. It's super easy to use. It's one of those things that it's a little intimidating to try it for the first time because you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure how I'll do that, how it works, but it's so simple. You literally put a sheet of it on the back of the paper and then cut out your die like you normally would. And the other nice thing is when you go to take that adhesive off, or not the adhesive, but the backing, it tends to pull off here they're big pieces, so it's not quite doing that. But when it's little tiny detailed pieces, you pull off the backing and it pulls those little pieces out for you, and you have a lot fewer of them that you have to worry about getting out of your die. So we've got this guy, and I'm going to pull the backing off, which I shouldn't have done yet because I wasn't really totally ready to do this yet, but that's okay. And then I also I cut out the little ribbon also using the adhesive sheets, and I just kept it on here because I wanted you guys to be able to see it and see how simple that is. Sometimes what's a little tricky though is getting the release paper off the back. It is hard with this one because all of the pieces are so fine, but you can see I got it off pretty easily. Now this piece feeds through the hole in the top of your ornament, so you can line it up straight so it's just the way you want it. And then, like I said, it makes it one big sticker, so we're just going to, oops. This adjusts pretty easily once it's down This bow does, so I'm not too worried about it kind of fumbling around right now. But once it's in place on the card, it'll stay really well. Okay, so now I'm just putting, oh, there's a couple little pieces in there still. Okay, and I'm just sticking this down on this soft succulent piece that I also cut out. And now I'm going to get my bow straight how I want it. And I'm going to stick it onto my designer series paper. So much for doing the inside first, right? Oh, thank you, Tammy. That's really sweet of you. Well, both of you, since Robin concurred. Thank you both. So now I'm just going to go ahead and mount this on here. Try to make sure it's straight. Oh, I guess I need to put adhesive on it. Figure out right where I want it. I do like that this piece is so malleable at this stage where I can kind of fiddle fart with it. That's a technical term, by the way. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim off that extra piece right there. Now we're going to go ahead and stick this onto my cherry cobbler. Again with the tiny little margin. And we're going to stick this onto the card. And then what I did is I took my Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels and added a few of the smaller rhinestones on these little snowflakes. And they just match that soft succulent so well. I mean, they came out before the soft succulent did, but they match really, really well. There's a little piece in there that's going to try to ruin my vibe, but I'll show it who's boss. Card making is all about showing your products who's boss. There, see, I win. So there's the front of our card. Let me put this away and we'll do the inside. And I've got my little strip of the DSP right here. A little bit of my liquid glue. Dot, dot, not a lot. This, I can't tell if it has a right way and a wrong way directional to go on this. It's like I put it on one way and I think, nope, it goes the other way, so I put it the other way. Nope, it goes the other way. Eventually you just have to give in and say, okay, I'm putting it on this way. Yeah, I agree, Tammy. They knew what they were doing. And you could, since there's no sentiment on the outside of your card, then you can add one on the inside, which is what I'm going to do. And I am going to break a cardinal rule of stamping here. How did I hear it today? They said, oh, what was it? Stamp it before you stick it, or something like that. And I did not do that. I stuck it down first. So we're just going to pray for the best here. And I have the Merry and Bright, and I have the little bow. We're going to stamp those. So I'm going to do the Merry and Bright in Soft Succulent. Oh, poop. See, that's why you've got to do that first. But I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of showing you what I'm doing, I'll finish it, but then I'll go back and redo it. So then I'm going to take a little bow with my cherry cobbler. Put it just right on the corner there. There. So this is what this one would look like, except, you know, without all the extra ink on there. Close up these ink pads. And there's the card, outside and inside. Let's do the envelope real quick. Do you guys decorate your envelopes? I didn't used to, and then I saw another demonstrator that does it all the time, and now I love it, and now I always do it. It's just fun to get a decorated envelope in the mail. It's like, you know, it's not going to be a bill. Okay, so now I'm going to trim off this extra. And in this case, I think I mentioned it, I used the Very Vanilla envelopes. Our envelopes are just awesome, and they're a really good price, to tell you the truth. You get 40 of them for $7.50, I think, and they're really nice, smooth quality. They're heavy duty. It just, you know, you're getting a good quality envelope, and you know when you get this heavy duty quality envelope, you know there's going to be something good inside, right? So there is our card with our envelope. What do you think? So tonight we made 3 cards. Show you these again, clear some of the stuff out of the way. I'm a messy stamper, very, very messy stamper. So we have this one that we made with its coordinating envelope. We have the Bright Baubles with its coordinating envelope. And then the Snowflake card with its coordinating envelope. What do you guys think? Thank you, Tammy. Tammy says she loves it. So this is what I had for you guys tonight. I also wanted to remind you about the Eden's Garden set that's coming up. It's going to be a, I'm sorry, I just caught sight of Tammy's note that she says fiddle fart all the time. Oh, good. So it's not just me. The Eden's Garden that's going to be available to customers November 2nd. But if you join my team, you can pre-order it anytime this month. So that's something to think about. And let me know if you have questions about that. If you would like to place an order for any of the supplies that I used tonight or anything else, you can go to my website, heathersides.stampitup.net. If your order is under $150, I ask that you please use this host code. It's what allows me to try to help offset the cost of my supplies, to do free videos like this, as well as offer prizes to my customers. Speaking of prizes, I did put out there on my ads for this live workshop, I said invite a friend, and if you both come, then you'll both receive a gift from me. So if you invited a friend and you are both here, make sure you let me know in the comments, and I will go through all the comments later, so that you guys get your prize. If your order is over $150, please do not use this host code. The host code enables you to get the host rewards, and if your order's over $150, I want you to get those rewards. So if it's under 150, use the code. If it's over 150, don't use the code. And I am looking forward to seeing you guys next week. I don't know yet what I'm going to be working on. If you have anything that you'd like to see or ideas, maybe some other techniques you've seen on my site that you would like to see how I did them, anything like that, let me know. I'm always open to ideas. So have a great week, and I'll see you guys all next week.